Hey guys, how you doing? This is Andrew Sims with the Sims Consulting Group. Normally, I have on one of the company polos or maybe a button-up shirt or something like that, man. But I just got back from the beach with the family, and I wanted to make sure I gave you some good content for this week. So today, man, I just want to talk to you a little bit about consistency, right? Because I was having a conversation about working out and things like that with the family on the beach, and we've been working out consistently throughout this pandemic, but part of the issue with consistency is when we try to mimic somebody else's process, or we try to mimic their routine, or we try to do something that we see somebody else doing because they're getting results, man. And it's tough to be consistent with something that's not natural to you or something that doesn't feel right to you, right? I mean, you can do something for a while, right, and kind of get some results, but to make it a lifestyle change, like when you're talking about working out, right? If you're not a runner, but you see a couple of runners and they're losing weight and they're doing really well, but running is really not something that's going to excite you or something that you're going to see yourself committed to, yeah, it's fine to start on that process, but what's the reality of you keeping that up as a lifestyle change, right? You may be a biker, right? So instead of you trying to mimic the lifestyle of a runner, you need to adapt your lifestyle based on what you like, which is biking, right? Part of the same thing is true in business, right? You have to be able to be consistent to your routine, to your process, right? And basically finish what you start. And be able to keep it up and maintain, again, the big word, sustainability. You got to be able to sustain the success God gives you, right? So I got a couple of scriptures here that I'm going to talk about consistency and what it looks like, and what are the rewards for consistency. Like what's if you consistently go to the gym and you eat right, your body's going to perform better. It's going to stand the test of time better. It's going to look better. You're going to feel better. You're going to have energy benefits. You're going to have mental clarity benefits, right? A lot of good things are going to happen, but that doesn't take away from the fact that it's going to take consistent hard work for those things to happen. Well, the same is true in business. What happens when you're a consistent business owner and you're providing a valuable product, of course, and a sustainable business model that you're giving out to the general population, right? And you're able to now, transact business in a good manner. So what happens to that? What does consistency look like in that area? Well, it looks like financial success. It looks like having a business you can turn over to your family. It looks like having a company that's able to bring opportunities and blessings to the community. It looks like an ability to bless people, maybe to build homes or whatever it is, or pay people's rent, whatever it is that is in your heart to do with the success that God gives you. Consistency is the difference between you not having it and you getting it, right? Because it's easy to kind of start something. It's easy to take the first step. Sometimes I shouldn't say it's easy, but it seems like more people have a problem with keeping it up, especially when you talk about, let's just keep it in the realm of business, and we're going to use exercise as a kind of a parallel case study where we can kind of compare the two and see some of the similarities, just so we can better understand the concept, right? Well, it's easy to kind of on the beginning of the year, you got a New Year's resolution, right, and you want to go forward. Those first couple of days at the gym, because you're motivated, you're excited. That's pretty. I think a lot of people can do that, right? But what happens after the first month of not seeing that total body change that you initially thought, or the first couple of months, right? Same thing when you start a business, right? You're advertising, you're excited, everything's going, and you're putting out material, you're putting out content, but you're not getting the subscribers. People are not commenting. You don't know if people are enjoying the content or not. Well, we all get to those stages, but consistency in making the adjustments and being able to adapt to situations, that makes the difference between somebody that's going to be successful and somebody that's not. So let me read the scripture I have to you. It's 1 Corinthians chapter 15 verses 50. 1 Corinthians chapter 15 verse 58 out of the English Standard Version. It says, "Therefore, my beloved brothers, be steadfast, be immovable, always abounding in the work of the Lord, knowing that in the Lord your labor is not in vain." Well, that's true, man. I think being steadfast, right, is just standing on what you believe God said to you, right? If He said start that business, or if He said open that church or get married or whatever it is that God has called you to do, you got to be steadfast in that word, even when all the situations, all the circumstances kind of look contrary to what you believe God has said. You got to be stand fast. And then immovable comes on top of that, because all of these things are going to try to move you. Because what happens, right? You start the business, it doesn't go so well, right? You start the channel, whatever it is that you start, right? You're not seeing the results that you thought you would see by this point in time. What happens? If you're movable instead of being immovable, you try to go to another field. Oh man, I'm just going back to work. I'm going to start applying, man. I'm going to get me another job. This business thing ain't for me, right? Or let me not do the specific business plan that God gave me, because obviously that's not working right now. Let me go ahead and add to or take away or adjust and now get totally off from God's plan. Although you're still in business, you're not necessarily doing or serving the population that you've been called to, right? So it's one of those things where you got to be immovable, specifically if you got a word from God. And this is for believers, because this is Sunday servant leadership, right? But if you're easily moved based on the circumstances, then the enemy is going to provide those circumstances, right? It's just what it is. He's gonna naturally put things in your way to move you off of what God has told you to. And if you're not a believer, right? Life happens to all of us. So let's say you see an area or an opportunity in your local community, and you want to provide a service to that community, right? And you start trying to provide that service, man, and because people have tried to come and bring things to the community before, they're not trusting you at first. They don't work with you at first, right? You're in crime prevention. You're the new detective. You're the new teacher, right? It's tough to it takes time and consistency to really earn the trust of the marketplace, whether you're a believer or not, right? It just takes time. People have to see you consistently doing the right thing for an extended amount of time before they're willing to give you that opportunity. Even people you know. And that's not necessarily a bad thing, because I think that's the test that we all have to pass. That's part of the process, right? That's the test we all have to pass. So if you want to play this game when it comes to being an entrepreneur, or you want to, really, it's not even entrepreneurship. It's really just, if you want to win in hand in life, you got to be able to be consistent, immovable. You got to be able to be steadfast about what it is that you believe you're supposed to be doing, man. We can talk about Michael Jordan, right? Michael Jordan wasn't the greatest player in high school. I mean, he turned it on in college to a certain extent, right? But when he first came to the league, the Pistons was giving it to him, right? But he had to stay consistent. That same drive, right, caused him to be a six-time champion. How many obstacles do the greats that we esteem to be great face? They all face obstacles. And I think those obstacles are part of the process to build up those muscles, the mental capacity to be able to handle the success on the other side. So don't neglect that part of the process. Now, the second scripture I'm going to use is Galatians chapter 6, verse 9. I'm a little tired from the beat, so I'm going to pronounce some of these things crazy, but bear with me. And it says, "And let us not grow weary of doing good, for in due season we will reap if we do not give up." Well, that's true in or out of church, man. That's just a true principle. For the believer, we know why we reap. We reap because God is a good God, right? We sow good seeds, we reap a good harvest, right? There's always going to be seed time and harvest. You don't have to be a believer to put a seed in the ground. If you understand what you're doing with gardening, and you water that seed and the sunlight comes, well, you're going to get a crop or harvest just like any Christian would, even if you're not a believer, right? Well, the same thing is true in business, right? It takes time, right? You can't grow weary in doing the right thing, or putting your information out there, or putting your content out there, or pushing whatever it is that you believe you're supposed to push in this world, whether it's for criminal justice reform, if you're in that field, or social justice issues, or whatever it is that you believe you're called to do. You have to employ consistency. Consistency is going to help you, one, get the results that you want, but two, it's going to build the muscle in order for you to sustain the results that you're after, right? Because it's one part is getting the success, the second part is sustaining the success. One part is becoming number one. The second part is being able to maintain that number one position, right? King James, man. For the first time, man, he's eliminated in the first round. Is it over for him? Probably not. He has a champion heart, man. He'll be back. They'll figure it out. But he sustained that record of not getting put out in the first round. What was it? I mean, 14 times, 14, 15 years, right? He's been the king. I mean, to me, he's still the king right now. To some people, maybe not. But at the end of the day, that's a run. That's a stretch. That's sustaining. That's a sustaining. You sustain something. You were the king for 4. Even if he's not the king anymore, he's dominated the league for the past 14, 15 years. Every year, NBA Finals, playoffs, man. You know, and it takes that amount of preparation, that amount of commitment, that amount of consistency. I'm pretty sure he just doesn't walk on the court every year. I think there's a lot of work. I heard somewhere that $1 million goes into his training. He invests $1 million into his body, whether it's through nutrition, whether it's through workouts, in order for him to perform at the level that he does. How much are we willing to invest? I'm just asking you to invest consistency. I'm just saying invest a little bit of consistency, right? And it says, and let us not grow weary of doing good, for in due season we will reap if we do not give up. Don't give up. Don't give up before you get the reward. My man E.T. says, get something for the pain, right? E.T., the hip-hop preacher, he says, get something for the pain. And I agree 100%. Get something for the pain. It hurts, man, when you're doing your best and you're not seeing the results. But don't let that pain, don't let those tears, don't let those nights where you put in that work in and you're not seeing the results, don't let it be in vain by quitting. Keep pushing, man. Keep fighting. Once again, this is Andrew Sims with the Sims Consulting Group. I just got back in from the beach, man, and the 2 scriptures we looked at was 1 Corinthians chapter 15, verses 58 out of the English Standard Version, and then Galatians chapter 6-9 out of the English Standard Version. All I'm saying, man, is be consistent. Be consistent, man. Go through the process just like anybody else goes through the process, and get the results that you're looking for, have the success that you want, and then sustain that success. Once again, this is Andrew Sims with the Sims Consulting Group. Y'all be blessed, man. Peace.